Transitional Age Youth Program at Loft Community Services. Within the Transitional Age Youth Program, we provide support to our clients with the help of peer support workers. And so today I'm going to share my experience in supervising peers and supporting our program, and beginning specifically with the value of peer work in practice. So what is peer work? Many organizations are utilizing the services of peers, and some organizations now are bringing on peers and onboarding them into their service delivery. Although many people are still unsure of how to implement and what are some of the best practices and where to start. CMHA defines peer support work as peer support is emotional and practical support between two people who share a common experience, such as mental health challenge or illness. A peer supporter has lived through that similar experience and is trained to support others. However, peer support work can take many different forms and shapes, and it's distinct from things like youth advisory or advisory committees, consultations, focus groups. Peer support work is a professional role and are employed as staff and the same as other staff members, clinical staff within our organization. It's incredibly important to be very clear on what the role a peer worker is going to play within your organization. This sets up the individual for success at the beginning and ensures that there's going to be real tangible work for the young person or the peer worker to perform in the agency site. So there are a diverse number of roles that a peer worker can play, and in understanding these roles can help make an informed decision on how to set a peer up and in what you're going to employ them for in your organization. Most employees, though, will probably end up being a hybrid of these positions. A peer mentor is an individual who would work one-on-one with an individual client to achieve certain life goals and coaching them towards achieving certain life skills, sharing their own lived experience on how they may have navigated or learned those skills themselves. Peer educator is an individual who would work around developing educational materials and delivering educational workshops both within your organization and with the community as a whole. A peer navigator would be an individual who uses their lived experience around navigating systems and bureaucracies to support clients, maybe accessing appointments, filling out necessary paperwork, or dealing with any other logistical things that come up with navigating service sites. A peer specialist is a culmination of many of these roles. However, they also can perform case management and advocacy. Within the Transitional Age Youth Program, we hire youth as community support workers and they perform the function as case managers. However, they maintain the identity and label of peer support specialists so that people know that they share their lived experience and bring that expertise with their position. It's important that we highlight it as a specialist because being a peer offers a certain degree of specialization that is a valued asset to your team. Finally, a peer group facilitator is an individual who is facilitating and hosting whether psychoeducational groups or process-based groups, sharing their lived experience and help engaging youth or participants in the program through icebreakers or other rapport building activities. The takeaway from this is that it's important to identify what your program needs are and what you would be employing a peer to do. Clarify the role you want the peer to play and empower them to perform that role. A big component to setting up a successful peer program is understanding the value peers will have within your agency. Within Loft, we have developed a certain number of values that we've decided or we've come to see that peers bring to our organization. Hope, connection, integrity, acceptance, trust, and inclusion. Peers provide hope because they serve as a living example of recovery and what recovery can look like for individuals. They offer connection in that they provide a unique form of rapport that is sometimes faster than engaging with other workers within your organization. They bring integrity for organizations that say that they commit to the recovery model or psychosocial rehabilitation. They demonstrate the organization's commitment to those values by employing people in all spectrums of mental health and recovery. They offer a context of acceptance by showing people that they can live healthy and whole lives with their mental health, and they can challenge notions of stigma within the workplace. The connection that they are forming is also founded on trust. There's a trust that these individuals understand their lived experience and they can speak from a place of truth and honesty. Finally, there's inclusion. Peers offer the opportunity for organizations to employ individuals from marginal and oppressed communities, giving them a chance to have voices in the strategic development and program planning within your organization. So understanding the benefits of peer work is twofold. You must underscore the value peer work has in the service provision, what the peer can do and how they're going to be an asset to your team, and emphasizing and being clear on what peers can offer, their knowledge, their skill, and capacity. This can mitigate tokenism and ensure that tangible work is being assigned. It's essential that peers are seen as equal members of your team and bringing with them concrete and specific clinical skills. Takeaway here is to build a culture that values peer work and is clear on the peer roles. This can build organizational buy-in as well as reduce tokenism. The organizational buy-in should be both between the peer and the supervisor, but also their colleagues, higher management, all the way up to the board. The board of directors is often making funding decisions around where budget money is going to be allocated. If they can understand and appreciate the value of peer work, there'll be a greater understanding of why we need to not only fund the position and the salary of the peer, but also the tools and the technology that the peer may need to do the job. Finally, in order to value a peer and to create a context that values peer, it's important to establish your program on the foundation of ethical inclusion. An effective peer program is built on the premise of ethical inclusion in that it strives for transparency, fairness, and honesty in all processes related to people with lived experience. It strives to find solutions and pathways that advantage peers and non-peers alike, finding accommodations to make the peer's job more likely to be successful and giving them a chance to work within the realm that is suitable and comfortable for them. This goes into never dictating a person's professional or personal recovery path. I'll speak to this in another presentation, but often because peers have had previous service experience with your organization, sometimes their behavior or their work performance is viewed through the lens of their mental health. That can often create expectations or standards of how they should be, which can contradict from the recovery model and each individual's unique growth and transition into their own independence. Creating an environment that fosters communication and safety. Building accountability at every level to the lived experience experts on your team. This again speaks to not only creating a culture of communication and accountability between the peer and their supervisor, but also amongst their colleagues, higher management, and up to the board. Everyone is accountable to making this program a success, and everyone owns the support that a peer requires to do their job effectively. Finally, understanding that ethical inclusion means that the person, the peer, feels respected and a part of the team and in the workplace. In many cases and in many work cultures, peers are often reviewed as a subclassification of a staff member. They're often tiered below staff and seen as not able to do all the same jobs. They may not have the same position and the same expectations, but they do perform an essential role that is of equal importance to other staff in your program. Thank you for listening to this presentation. The next presentation is going to talk to you about how to build the foundation of a successful peer program. We'll then talk about how to recruit and effectively orient peers within your organization, and finally, how to provide exceptional supervision to peers. Thank you very much for attending, and I look forward to sharing more.